Hey Carla, I finally hired some people and I've been working with them for a while, but I'm just feeling some red flags. Question: when should I fire and when should I forgive? This is a very, very common question that I get from a lot of my friends, a lot of the people that I work with, people who are thinking about working with us because they've tried to DIY the recruitment and the onboarding process and the management process for their outsourced teams, but then they're not sure if they're doing this right. And so in this video, I will be talking about some virtual assistant and remote worker red flags that are very, very visible and very obvious when you are working with them. Now, I also have a video about virtual assistant and remote work red flags when you're hiring. And so that is definitely something that you need to watch if you're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant or hiring a remote worker, such as a project manager, client success manager, even like a video editor, reels editor, graphic designer, copywriter. So if you're still thinking about hiring them and you want to do it right, definitely look for that video. I'll also share that video on the notes so that you can reference it. But if you've already hired someone or if you already work with a few people and you're kind of seeing some red flags, and you're thinking, is it time to let them go? Then definitely listen to this video because you're gonna learn a few things. And honestly, my favorite principle in operations and management is fire fast. So firing fast has saved me a lot of money, and doing the opposite has just cost me more money, more anxiety, and a lot of my headspace as a business owner or the founder. And honestly, it was just not good for my company. And moreover, it was not good for the morale of the team and for the morale of the people who are working very well and they're working hard and they're doing all the right things. And so definitely fire fast. If you're seeing a lot of repetitive red flags and a lot of repetitive issues, then just let them go. So just pull the band-aid and let them go and hire for a new set of people, or talk to a professional like us at proximityoutsourcing.com. This is what we do all day. We've hired hundreds and hundreds of virtual assistants, project managers, operations managers, creative roles. We've hired for tech roles. We've hired for some of the best earning solopreneurs and big 8-figure companies that have even gone on exits. So we have a lot of experience. This is definitely what we do all day. And this is why I'm peeling back the curtain and I'm going to show you what are signs that you should let go of someone and what are the red flags that you should look out for if you're already working with someone overseas as a remote resource or a remote worker for your company. So this is definitely number one. And I just surprised at how so many entrepreneurs, so many bosses, so many clients, so many founders, just forgive this, but poor and inconsistent communication. So communication is very important when you are all working remotely, because that's honestly really the only way that you can align whatever communication platforms you have agreed upon hiring. Those are the things that need to just be fulfilled when they're being hired. So in my internal company, for example, we use Slack as our main mode of communication, but we also have certain alignment calls that really, really help with seeing where everyone's at. We also share a calendar of everyone's schedule. Everyone can see everyone's work calendar. And we take advantage of a lot of the features of Slack, like we use the Slack huddle feature if we just want to do a quick call instead of a lot of back and forth. I also tell them that they can always reach me on WhatsApp if something is super urgent. So that's also another tip that I would give you as the business owner or the main boss of your company, basically the person in the highest part of the pyramid of your org chart. It would also be helpful if you have an instant messaging tool that you kind of agree on in your company as a place that you can have quick messages. So if there are certain emergencies or someone couldn't come on that day, honestly, if there's just something that just needs to be said right away and you can get to a laptop, they should be able to reach you through their phone. And of course, this will not be abused. This type of access will not be abused. What is important is what is constantly being emphasized is the need for consistent and effective communication. And of course, another question that I would be asking is, are they communicating properly in the hours that you have agreed to work together? So once that you hire, typically when you hire overseas, especially if you hire for a different time zone, like a lot of our clients are from the US, and our team, I would say 80% of our team is in the Philippines. That would be the opposite time zone. But they would agree to a particular time block, like maybe 1 to 5 p.m. on Eastern time zone, or a 10 to 2 p.m. on Pacific time zone. So whatever that agreement is, the people that you hire should fulfill that expectation in terms of communication. Now, this doesn't mean that as soon as you message them, they would reply right away, because they might be doing something, right? They need to also focus on the thing that they're doing. But as long as they're replying at a reasonable amount of time, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and it is within the time that you agreed to work with them, especially if you're contracting them part-time, that would basically be the expectation. So if someone doesn't have consistent communication with you, if someone communicates poorly, that would be a red flag. It might be if you've already told this person to do this differently, or that you expect a certain type of cadence or communication with them. If you have to reiterate what you agreed upon during the onboarding or hiring them, and you've kind of just done this repeatedly, then it might be time to fire them. Number 2 red flag is if the person you're hiring doesn't have initiative. So what I mean by that is, are they the type of person that will just do a task if they're told to do a task? And what are they doing if they are not told to do something, right? So are they continuously suggest improvements? Do they explore things on their own? Do they learn new stuff about the industry? And do they bring these ideas to you? If there is something wrong, do they just let that be and let that go and feel like it's not their responsibility to touch that because maybe it's not in their department? But if they see that something was actually wrong, they should still at least say something about it. There are certain people that you can just see they have initiative. Those are the best people to work for. And honestly, that should be a basic expectation that you should establish when you're hiring someone. Because ultimately, the way that humans think is still the reason why we hire humans over AI. So if we just expect a robot to do a lot of things, then these people will be quickly replaced by AI. But also the fact that you're hiring them and their expertise in a particular platform, or maybe in a particular department, like most of our teammates are very specialized. They're like a project manager, operations manager, client success, graphic designer, YouTube video editor. So these are certain departments or certain topics that I expect them to be good at, but also I expect them to continuously show initiative on what else we can improve on, as they are the people that are in these departments for a long time each day. So me as the business owner, I can't be in these departments for at least even probably 2 hours a day because I have to do other things. And most of all, I have to focus on growth. I have to focus on networking, growing my personal brand. And so that would be another red flag. If someone doesn't show any initiative, that would be a red flag that you should watch out for. And of course, additional tip, definitely communicate this during your hiring, your onboarding, your recruitment process, that this is a basic expectation that you have and that you're also encouraging them to do it. So another tip is also fostering a culture of being open to feedback and being open to being encouraging to your team so that they can give more suggestions and that they can feel safe and open in sharing their ideas with you. So that would be the ideal situation, that they share their ideas, they share some feedback about the systems that you have, and they suggest some improvements. So speaking of feedback, red flag number 3 is not good at accepting feedback. So obviously, the other side of this is you also have to be good at giving feedback. And honestly, you can chat GPT that. There's a lot of ways that you can familiarize yourself on how to give good feedback. But once you feel like you've given good feedback and you've been empirical, you've been meritocratic, and you've been basically honest about what you think, and also asking them like, do you agree with me, or are you getting where I'm coming from, or something like that. As long as it's also communicated very well, this person or the person that you work with should be good at accepting feedback, because that's the only way that they can improve. And honestly, during the first 30 days of someone starting to work with you, there's going to be a lot of feedback. There's going to be some adjustments. There's going to be some things that you might have to tell them, hey, don't do this, or don't do this that way. It's better if you do it this way. And so you really need to explain why. You need to explain the principles behind your feedback as well. And so if you feel like someone just felt butthurt, or the person that you're working with does not do anything with the feedback, or does not tie it to change behavior, then that's definitely a red flag. Next red flag is if someone doesn't understand business priorities. So what do I mean about that? What I mean about that is if someone is hired in a role and they have tons of tasks, right? They could be very busy. That's why you outsource. It's because you can't do everything. If they don't know how to prioritize according to what the business should prioritize, then that might be a problem, because it shows that they don't have a good understanding of your business, or that they don't want to make the effort to think more. And honestly, that is the underlying red flag. So for example, there are certain cycles or seasons in your business where you prioritize different things. Sometimes you prioritize growth and scale. Sometimes you prioritize organizational or operational competence. Sometimes you prioritize a very strong brand. Sometimes you prioritize just keeping the peace and being stable, right? And so it's very important for you to communicate your priorities as the founder, the owner, the boss, the client, someone that this virtual assistant is reporting to, this remote worker is reporting to. It's really important for you to communicate your priorities, but it's also important for them to see what are the priorities of their role. So what does that mean? It means success metrics. What are their KPIs? What are the things that they should be always thinking about and prioritizing? So there's definitely different things depending on the role. So for example, for our project manager hires, priority is always a timeliness of the output, collaboration amongst the team members in producing the output that's needed, the project basically. And then the other thing is quality assurance, the quality of the output, not just the timeliness. So those are the priorities. So if you feel like your project manager has fallen behind on those priorities, even if they are good at other things, maybe that's something to talk to them about, like, hey, this needs to be your priority and not these other things. So if someone has repeatedly shown that they're not good at analyzing your business priorities, it might be red flag that will be repetitive, that will be annoying, and you will be wasting a lot of time and a lot of headspace as the business owner or the founder, really just trying to make this work with that person. So those are the things that you should watch out for when you're working with someone. And honestly, it's not too late. Even if you are just realizing all of this now, you can still train your team up. You can still ask also for feedback from them. Hey, what can I do better so that you can be better at this? You can start documenting certain things. So honestly, it's not too late. You don't need to fire right away just because Carla said so, or just because Carla said that, according to her experience as an outsourcing professional, that these are the things that you should watch out for. So that's definitely a plus here. You don't need to immediately fire. You can make some changes in your organization. You can hire a consultant to maybe look into your business and help you out with that. And of course, a lot of the problems really could be avoided if you just start by hiring professionals to help you with the recruitment, with the onboarding, and the management. So obviously, if you need help, let us know at proximityoutsourcing.com. We'll be very happy to help you out.